Russia's approach to this war is widely misunderstood in the West. Many people in Washington and Brussels still cling to the idea that Russia is desperate, that it is running out of men, out of ammunition, out of money, and that the Kremlin is barely holding the country together. That picture has very little to do with reality. If anything, Russia has settled into a long conflict with a level of strategic patience that Western governments never anticipated. The key point is this: Russia is not trying to win the war quickly. It doesn't have to. A slow war serves Russian interests far better than a fast one. And that is something Western leaders have struggled to accept because it contradicts the story they told themselves at the beginning of the conflict. They believed Russia would collapse under sanctions, that Putin would face mass unrest, or that the Russian military would burn itself out in a catastrophic assault. None of that has happened. From the very beginning, Russia adopted a methodical approach aimed at minimizing its own casualties. That is why we do not see large-scale frontal attacks or reckless advances into well-defended Ukrainian cities. Instead, the Russians rely on overwhelming firepower. They soften positions with artillery, missiles, and drones before moving forward. It is slow, but it is deliberate, and it keeps Russian losses relatively low. If you understand anything about how Putin thinks, you know that avoiding a flood of body bags is one of his highest priorities. Dead soldiers would create domestic pressure, so he made a conscious choice. Time is cheaper than lives. There's another aspect Western audiences often miss. The front line is enormous. It stretches across vast distances with multiple sectors where fighting can intensify or calm down depending on the moment. Russia exploits this. It pushes in one area, watches Ukraine shift its reserves to that point, and then applies pressure somewhere else. Ukraine is constantly reacting, constantly moving forces, constantly trying to plug holes. And that is exhausting for any army, especially one with shrinking manpower. And Ukraine's manpower problem is devastating. You don't need classified intelligence to see it. Western media now openly reports massive desertions, steep recruitment challenges, and entire units worn down by years of continuous fighting. Morale has eroded. Reserves are depleted. The enthusiasm of the early months is long gone. And meanwhile, the West has slowed its support to a trickle. That brings us directly to Europe's dilemma.